The Ducks are going to quack their way to the Big Ten championship.
A Big Ten title rematch. A major test for two national title contenders. Enter the Ducks. the defending Big Ten champs. An offense that can move at Mach 5. A defense that resembles a brick wall. Enter the Nittany Lions, out for revenge. Armed with a two-headed monster at running back. And a defense that hunts in packs. This is Oregon, a football powerhouse built on speed, innovation, and the occasional new uniform. They are Penn State, a football blue blood created with power, loyalty, and the unwavering faith in their traditions. A newborn rivalry playing out on one of football's grandest stages. The countdown to kickoff starts now.
What is good, everyone? We are counting down to kickoff between the Oregon Ducks and Penn State Nittany Lions. My name is Orlando, alongside the one and only Art Edwards. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm excited.
Me too, so let's get down to it. We've had this one circled on our calendars since the schedule was announced. It's one of the most anticipated games of the college football season. Don't take my word for it.
I'm expecting this to be an environment like no one has ever seen.
Penn State head coach James Franklin setting the tone. It's going to be a hostile environment. One of the best in college football, Beaver Stadium, the stage. The whiteout is the occasion. More than 100,000 fans, all wearing white. The annual tradition started back in the early 2000s. PSU started it in hopes of keeping student interest high during a couple of down years for the program. In 2005, the tradition was cemented thanks to an upset win over Ohio State, and soon expanded from the student section to the entire stadium over the next several years. And it's a draw. 5 of the 10 biggest crowds ever at Beaver Stadium have been whiteout games. That includes a win over Washington last year. The Nittany Lions have also won 6 straight whiteout games. Coach Franklin also wants his crowd to go all in against the Ducks.
I know a good portion of our fans like to sit down except for third downs and red zone and what they consider critical times of the game. But I'm challenging everybody. This is a 4-quarter, one play at a time, first, second down, third down, fourth down, punts, kickoff coverage, that we need to be on our feet screaming a collective battle cry in the stadium.
Oh my. So how will the Ducks handle that environment? Dan Lanning said this week, play the game, not the occasion. Expect to hear the song Mo Bamba by Sheck. You familiar with that? That's how you get ready for our shows, right?
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Well, that's been the latest anthem to the whiteout. Crowd noise mixed with Mo Bamba has been pumped into Autzen Stadium this week to prepare for it. Lanning was asked about that track earlier this week.
You've seen you certainly steer into the road environment bit, both at Michigan and Wisconsin last year with Jump Around. Just how much will you be playing Mo Bamba this week in preparation for what will likely be?
It'll play a couple times. We'll be, do everything we can to be prepared for that environment for sure.
On the left, Eric?
I don't love that song.
Even Penn State has to prepare. Coach Franklin had his team practice at night during their bye week to get used to how the stadium will look. So, Art, are you ready for the whiteout?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a cool thing to see all the fans there in their white. So it'll be neat. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we've seen other teams in other sports and sometimes incorporate the whiteout. But what makes Penn State's tradition so different?
Well, I think the fact that there are just so many people there.
Yeah.
When you get 106,000 or whatever it's going to be, when you get over 100,000, that's what makes it different.
It's grand.
It is.
On a larger scale.
On a larger scale.
How much of an advantage do you think it is?
It's like any other home field advantage. I mean, it's like if you're playing at Autzen Stadium and you're the visiting team. So I don't think it'll be a lot different than that.
Yeah.
Especially to the players. It'll be loud, no doubt about it. But
and we've seen loud crowds impact games, make it hard to hear, penalties, false starts, so maybe that plays into it. But the Ducks are not new to this.
No.
They know all about loud crowds.
Right, and they played before 100,000 at Michigan Stadium last year. So they've done this before.
All right, Art. So the Ducks are actually 1-0 in games played at Beaver Stadium. Of course, that game was back in 1964 when the stadium held 46,000 fans. Penn State leads the all-time series 3-2. That includes wins in 2 bowl games and a game played only a few blocks from the KGW studios at what is now Providence Park.
Yeah.
And of course, Oregon beat Penn State in last year's Big Ten title game. So let's talk about the 6th ranked Ducks, a perfect 4-0, and have yet to be tested. The numbers absurd. Sporting a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Year 4 of the Dan Lanning era has been all about dominance, steamrolling through the schedule so far, outscoring the competition 203-37. That's an average of 50 points per game, while giving up just 9. Their closest game, a 20-point victory at Northwestern. It has been a balanced attack on offense, piling up more than 500 yards per contest. Offensive coordinator Will Stein has the O humming, led by quarterback Dante Moore. After sitting behind Dylan Gabriel last year, the UCLA transfer has settled in nicely in his first season as the Ducks starter, tossing 11 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Nationally, he's top 5 in efficiency, fresh off his most productive game, throwing for more than 300 yards against the Beavers. And while Moore has never played at Penn State, he was there on a recruiting visit a few years ago for a whiteout game, a game former Duck Bo Nix played in while at Auburn.
Stadium is really loud, of course, but just understand how composed he was. Of course, I hope I have the chance to talk to him and, just see, hear his thoughts. And, it's just going to be a great week. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great environment, hostile environment. But I'm going to reach out to Bo for sure to see what things he has to tell me.
So he's played at Utah and Oregon State when he was a freshman at UCLA. But this is on another level. Now a top 5 opponent and a road setting like no other. So, Art, does Moore have to be great for the Ducks to win this game?
No, I don't think he has to be great. He has to not make mistakes. He has to take advantage of whatever Penn State might give him. But they've got so much around him that he does not have to be great.
You're already starting to feel a little bit of a buzz about Heisman.
Yes.
Could this be his moment? Does he have a chance to really rise to the occasion here and make a name for himself?
Well, I believe he does. And if he has an outstanding game, if he really does a great job in this ball game, then all of a sudden I think he rises close to the top of the list. I guess now some of the lists have him like at number 2.
Yeah.
And I think, this could be the game that catapults him even further up.
One of the words that head coach Dan Lanning has used to describe him is poise.
Yes.
And what he's been able to do this year. Yes. And what have you thought about his character and how he's gotten to this point?
Well, I think it's been really incredible, amazing. A lot of young guys would not have wanted to sit behind Dylan Gabriel for an entire year while you're learning the offense and learning what it's all about here at Oregon. But he did that, and seemingly willingly so, and he still communicates, with Dylan Gabriel, and he's going to talk with Bo Nix. So he's a real mature young man.
And that's something that you've mentioned as you've been following along since he came out of Detroit.
Yes. And he knows the Big Ten
Yeah.
because he's from Detroit.
Oh, man, this is going to be exciting. Now, Art, there are a couple of injury updates for the Ducks offense.
Yes.
Running back Noah Whittington expected to return. He missed the last 2 games with an unspecified injury. Well, receiver Justice Lowe could also return for Penn State.
All right.
The Lake Oswego High standout did not play in the last 2 games. Coach Lanning said he thinks that he will be available. All right, you ready to call a quick timeout, Art?
Do it.
We got to talk about the Ducks on offense, and what about the other guys and what they do when they have the ball? What Oregon's defense needs to do if they want to slow down a strong Penn State attack. Keys to this game are coming up on the other side. And welcome back. Let's talk about Penn State. Ranked third in the latest AP poll, 3-0 this season, fresh off a bye. They've had an extra week to prepare for Oregon. Just like the Ducks, though, they haven't been challenged. They've outscored their opponents 132-17, crushing Nevada, Florida International, and Villanova. The defense has been dominant, giving up less than 6 points per game. The roster loaded with experience, 14 returning starters from a year ago. James Franklin has been the head coach at Penn State since 2014. He's won more than 100 games with the Nittany Lions, leading them to the 2016 Big Ten title and last year's CFP semifinals. He's been criticized, though, for not winning big games. Franklin 2-18 against AP top 10 teams, outscored by nearly 2 touchdowns in those games. He's got a new defensive coordinator this season in Jim Knowles. He was at Ohio State last season and knows a thing or two about facing the Ducks and even beating the Ducks. Remember the Rose Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Franklin and Bowles will be relying on a veteran defense to slow down Dante Moore and the Ducks offense. So here's a few names to watch out for. Cornerback A.J. Harris has been all over the award watch list this season. The junior didn't put up monster numbers in 2024, but he earned all Big Ten honors as the guy expected to go up against the top receivers. Meanwhile, safety Zakee Wheatley has seen his role change a bit under Jim Knowles, moving him around more. He recorded 96 tackles last year. And the Ducks offensive line will have its hands full with Zane Durant, the senior defensive, racked up 42 tackles last year. So the Penn State offense starts with a 1-2 punch at running back. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, they've got experience, both clearing the 3,000-yard mark for their careers. Allen has been the home run hitter this season, while Singleton has 41 carries and 5 TDs. They've got more than 450 combined rushing yards through the first 3 games. So the big question, can the Ducks slow them down? As we've nitpicked Oregon's last 4 games, Northwestern was able to find success moving the ball and getting some push on the line of scrimmage. And if you go back to last season, Allen and Singleton were part of the PSU rushing attack that ripped off nearly 300 yards against the Ducks in the Big Ten title game. Mateo Uyunglele hasn't forgotten about that.
It's something we remember as a defense. I think probably like one of the main reasons like we focus on our rushing defense so much, trying to improve that from last year. I think our offense really won that game for us last year. So we can't just rely on one side of the ball. We gotta dominate.
So Art, is this your biggest concern for the Ducks?
Yeah, it really is. Whether or not they can stop the run, because they have to be able to do that, I think, in order to be able to win this game.
So how does a good rushing attack impact what Oregon wants to do?
Well, basically, it keeps Oregon off the field.
Yeah.
We saw that against Northwestern, where they had the ball one time in the second quarter against Northwestern because they were able to run the ball a little bit. Nothing big, no big runs, but they kind of controlled things for a little bit, and that'll keep the offense off the field because I don't believe that Penn State's defense can stop the Oregon offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're killing clock, and they don't allow you to have the ball. You don't have the ball, you can't score. Simple as that.
That's right.
All right, let's talk about their quarterback, Drew Aller. He had 3 touchdowns against the Ducks in the Big Ten title game, totaling 280 yards of offense. It was one of his best performances, but he also tossed a couple of interceptions. Expectations have been high for Aller. The 6'5" strong arm can also impact the game with his legs. He was a 5-star prospect out of high school, now a 3-year starter. he's taken some heat for his lack of production and inconsistencies so far this season against what have been inferior opponents. So, Art, your thoughts on how Aller can impact this game?
Well, I think it could go either way. You know what? If he's really good, then he impacts it obviously in a positive way. If he's what we have seen him in years past and so far this year, then it's advantage Oregon at that point. I am not on the Drew Aller bandwagon as one of the top quarterbacks in the nation. I think he's good, but I don't consider him great.
Yeah, so you're trying to limit the rushing attack, and you want Aller to try and make a play.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want, is to have him have to make the plays, because I think then it becomes advantage Oregon.
Make or break type of situation.
That's right.
The way we talked about Dante Moore, though, this could be that moment for him.
It could be.
So there's a lot on the line for him at quarterback, even though the ground game is where they want to go.
Right.
They've got to be able to make a big play, especially if this is close.
That's right.
All right, man, let's call another timeout. But still to come, it's hard finding a place to stay in State College on game weekends, even if you're the visiting team, where the Ducks are setting up shop during their trip to Pennsylvania, and the issue that it's caused.
Welcome back. We're going to take a moment right now to talk Oregon State football. The nightmare season of the Beavers took another turn Friday night at Reser Stadium. The Beavers looked like they were in line to maybe win a ball game. Just over 12 and a half minutes left of the game in the fourth quarter. Cornell Hatcher, 18-yard touchdown run. Oregon State up 24-10. Now, the defense played outstanding until the last 6 minutes of the game. Connor Wegman connects with Stephon Johnson. Perfect pass, 27 yards for the score. Houston was able to cut the lead to just one possession. Now, the Cougars, hey, they were not done at that point. 3 minutes, 40 seconds left in the game. Wegman again, this time he hits Tanner Kozel over the middle. He breaks free, goes in for the score. That's 49 yards. Game tied at 24. Now, the Beavers had a chance to win this in regulation, but the field goal was blocked. Houston goes on to win the game in overtime, 27-24 the final score. Beavers 0-5 for the first time since 1996. Oregon State hits the road for a game with Appalachian State on Saturday. Well, now back to today's big game. You know, you can either fight the whiteout or you can embrace it. The Ducks, they're embracing it. These are the Mummy Duck uniforms, not mummy like your mom, mummy like the undead coming to life. They're black helmets and pants with white jerseys. The players will also wear glow-in-the-dark accessories like gloves and armbands that are made to look like mummy wrap. Of course, the headliner is the Mummy Duck cleats. They glow in the dark as well. It is a special design by Nike created just for the Oregon Ducks. Penn State will be wearing white helmets, blue jerseys, white pants, what they traditionally wear. You know, playing an away game at Penn State can be a logistical challenge for schools like Oregon. The town of State College only has a population of about 40,000 non-students. It's like playing a game in Corvallis or Pullman. So the Ducks set up in the nearby town of Altoona, about 60 miles from Beaver Stadium. According to the Altoona Mirror, the convention center out there and nearby hotel are the base of operations for Oregon. It's somewhat isolated, plus there's a Target and Walmart right down the street. Now, normally that information is kept secret, but the information got out. Dan Lanning was asked about it.
A lot goes into this one logistically, Dan. Just how did you or Neuer react when the hotel information got out there publicly on their end?
I only worry about what we control.
All righty then. Another cool tradition at Beaver Stadium the Blue Band's drum major does a front flip before every home game. I don't think I'd be able to pull that one off. This year's drum major is a history maker. Meet Ellie Sheehan, a fifth-year senior majoring in marketing. She is the first woman to serve as drum major in the band's 125-year history.
For as long as I can remember, I was probably like 8 years old going to my first Penn State game, and I saw the front flip and I was like, that's what I want to do. So this has been a very, very long dream come true.
Now, the position of drum major is still dominated by men across the country. The University of Oregon has 3 drum majors. This year's group includes sophomore Julianne Mast. She's in her second year with the Oregon Marching Band. So, of course, it is game day. Orlando was able to make the trip to Happy Valley. He found more than a few Duck fans there and also got some tough love from Penn State fans.
We are on the campus of Penn State University, marking the Oregon Ducks' first trip to Happy Valley since 1964.
We decided, hey, why not go for it? It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime dream for us.
And of course, the Lion Shrine, one of the most photographed landmarks in the entire state. Beaver Stadium, the destination. This place is massive. Capacity more than 106,000. One of the biggest stadiums in America. And you know it's a big game when College Game Day sets up shop.
We want to go where the best story is. And while there are a ton of great stories this week, we felt like this was the best one.
Snowstorm, no flight plan. Whiteout ready. Speaking of whiteouts, a tradition that was created more than 20 years ago has turned into one of the most electric atmospheres in college football. Penn State has won the last 6 in a row. And don't think Penn State fans haven't forgotten about the Big Ten championship game. Guys, have you seen anything green?
Nah.
How about any Oregon gear?
Nah, you gotta go. You gotta go.
I was just playing.
You gotta go.
And there's no more messing around. Oregon, an underdog for the first time this season. Penn State, coming off the bye, had an extra week to prepare for those Ducks. And let's not forget about this home field advantage. It's the Oregon Ducks, it's the Penn State Nittany Lions, a top 6 matchup right here on KGW Saturday at 4:30. Reporting from Happy Valley on the campus of Penn State University, Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.
So as you see, Orlando is there. We are going to be hearing from him after the ball game this evening. Great day at Penn State. Going to be over 100,000 people in the stands for that ball game. Everyone is excited. Everyone's getting fired up for the ball game. We'll get to see what happens at 4:30 right here on KGW when that game kicks off. We'll see how the Ducks and the Nittany Lions end up in this big-time college football game that's coming up a little bit later today. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you again later on after the ball game.